All right, everybody, welcome to another week here at t.U.G's Wednesdays Live. How's everybody doing out there in the gardening world? I hope that everybody's having a great week since last week, and I hope everybody's gardens are going good or you're getting some really great harvests out of all of the great work that you've put in this year into your gardens. I know that we're actually getting some pretty good harvest going on here in my gardens. But again, I want to thank you all actually here for joining up with me. And if you are here right now live, please get over there in the chat right there. I'm sure I'm pointing in the right directions. And let me know that you're here and what you got growing on and all that sort of stuff. Really want to hear about all of you guys and what you got going on there. And same if you are joining us in the replay. If you're joining us in the replay, down in the comment section below and let us know that you're here, what you got growing on. Let us know how your gardens are doing this year, what kind of harvests you're seeing, and all of that sort of stuff. So really want to hear from you all there. And it looks like Caroline is with us again this week. Hello, Caroline from New Hampshire, all the way up there where I'm sure it's starting to get a little colder again this week, or I'm not sure anyways. I haven't really looked at the weather for the East Coast, but right now it is actually starting to get a little bit cooler for us. And if you remember last week, if you were watching the live stream last week, it kind of ended with a big, huge rainstorm that really kind of crept up on us there while we were doing the live stream, and some thunder and lightning and all of that, and really got some good hailstorms. The plants out there and everything really took a beating when it came down to it. But luckily, most of these plants are from our summer garden, and so they're kind of heading towards the end of their seasons as well anyways here in the next few weeks. Some things are still growing and still ripening up, like a lot of our tomatoes, which is one thing too. You never have to really worry about tomatoes and getting tomatoes if you just get a couple of plants going, or even if you get them going late like I did this year and all of that. You just don't have to worry about it. Eventually these plants are just going to start producing, and then you're going to have more tomatoes than what you know what to do with. I'm handing out tomatoes to friends and family right now and everything too, because we're getting plenty of production off of our plants and all of that. And they just seem to kind of all of a sudden show up, and they're just there, and there's a whole bunch. You take them and then you come back, and yep, there's some more again though too, which is, it's a good thing. That's what we're actually working to do. That's what we're putting all of our hard work in for, and growing our plants and everything, is to have that sort of results and that sort of thing. But with tomatoes, it just seems like, that's kind of something that's going to happen once those plants get going. They're going to just start producing like crazy when it's time. So let's see here. Oh, she says she's got the 80s and the trees are changing colors. So she's got some really beautiful fall weather moving in there for her up in the north east there. And it just sounds like a really great thing. I love that part of fall when things are just changing colors, especially when you've got, like you see in a lot of those New England type pictures and towns and all of that, those just beautiful trees that just are multiple different colors and all of that. That is just really cool. We've got several really good trees right here actually in my neighborhood that change colors and whatnot a little bit, but we do have a lot of those evergreens and all of that that grow around here as well. So we get consistent green color along with some a little bit of a fall change and all of that. But yeah, do get a lot of really good leaves that come off of our tree though right out front. And I got a neighbor too that has some leaves that kind of blow over, and I'm always welcome to blow them on over. And I tell them even, that they can put their bags of leaves on over. Is what I do is I mulch everything with the leaves, and kind of create a good barrier for the soil there to be able to keep moist, and just keep all of that activity going on down below all the leaves there. It's a really great mulch. The worms and all that sort of stuff are going to feed off of them. They're going to break down. They're going to create more soil, and basically just compost down onto your garden bed. So leaves are always a really great resource to have, especially if you got a lot of them. And if you got a lot of garden space too, you'll be borrowing leaves from people sometimes too. She says, "Oh, our garden is finished except butternut squash and pumpkins." Yeah, actually, yeah, that's right. I just actually, my pumpkin plant was just done. I don't think it was really, I don't know if I got like a really bad seed or the plant wasn't just right or not, but it didn't grow. It didn't get very big as it was supposed to. It was a variety that was supposed to get very, very large, which I was really looking for this year. But when I started noticing the plant didn't get and stretch out very much, that's when I was kind of worried about what, what we were going to get with the fruit there. So it grew the best it could. It did what everything it could and produced, an all right small pumpkin there and whatnot that we have, but it just didn't really grow the way it was I was hoping for or expecting it to and all of that. So it's pretty much finished. I do have a few squash though that are continuing to grow, and in this and getting some pretty decent fruit. I think a couple of spaghetti squash, and then I also have like a couple of butternut squash that are really really growing and forming and right now. So in fact, that butternut squash plant just really actually just started taking off about 2 weeks ago and started taking it's taking down one of the rose bushes actually, if you think about that, a squash, but it's the weight of the butternut squash itself, but it's pulling it down and everything. So I had to kind of work it out and get it set up so it can continue to grow and be harvesting those up a little bit too there. Yep. And our, like I said, tomatoes are doing really well. They're producing. Some of our plants aren't doing as well as I was hoping to as well, but still producing something. And peppers are really kind of going off the hook right now. All sorts of different types of peppers coming off of our plants right now, and just really really great production off of everything, even though, as I've stated before, and starting in the garden this year and everything, we got started really late this year. And so I wasn't really hopeful for a lot of production or that sort of stuff. I was just kind of in for it to just to see how they would grow, how, what I would ultimately end up with. And of course, tomatoes and peppers, are going to be really good producers. You just got to make sure you kind of feed them and give them the right amount of water, and the appropriate amount of water, which is a real learning curve on almost individual varieties of these types of plants. Whether tomatoes or peppers and whatnot. Some of them are going to really like it a little bit drier, and some of them are going to want it a little bit wetter, and that's just kind of something, you almost find out season to season when you're growing certain varieties of tomatoes and peppers. But I try to keep things a certain level of consistency for everything, and we see what we get from all of that. And then, of course, as well as with the tomatoes, the peppers too, there's some plants that just aren't producing as well and aren't giving us much of anything. Although I did talk about in the summer garden tour that I did, I talked about the Carolina Reaper, which is the hottest pepper in the world. Talked about that one not producing and not giving me any pods or anything, and plant was just growing really, really well. Really good looking leaves, stems were really strong, all that sort of stuff. But all of the flowers just keep falling off. And and as I've grown it the last couple of years, the only time I've seen any sort of production off of them is when it's a little bit cooler out. So having to get the peppers out earlier at the more appropriate time would probably help get some earlier production started on the plant, and get some pods in there before the heat gets started. And then ultimately having them started when we did, as the heat was really kind of setting in, the plants weren't going to produce anything until it starts to cool off a little bit. So that's what we're seeing now with that Carolina Reaper. I think I was just out there just a little bit ago, and I counted up like about 6 or 7 pods now that are starting to form. They're just little things, just little tiny pods, but they're actually getting going and all of that. So it's kind of hopeful for everything with those plants too. So maybe that'll be kind of the case too with some of the other plants that we got that haven't been as productive as some of the ones that are producing. But yeah, we got uh, out just a little short video that I put out just a little bit ago. Filmed just a little short message a couple days ago about us turning 100 as far as a channel and how many episodes that we've put out. So it's nice little short little video. I think it's about 7 minutes or so like that. I encourage you all to go and check that out if you get a chance here after the live stream here. Um, and just kind of a little, just kind of a little short little message, like I was saying about the channel and about turning 100 and making 100 episodes and all of that. It's just really a great accomplishment for me here on this channel, and how I, you know, uh, kind of started out just kind of thinking, I'm gonna just share a little few things with people, and do all of that, and then to see where everything has kind of come to where it is today. I mean, to have now made 100 episodes, and then thinking about all the things that I did during those first 100 episodes. I mean, I never would have imagined. I mean, if you were to have come to me a few years ago, even as I was thinking about making the channel and all that, and say, oh, in a couple of seasons you're going to have done all of this by the time you've done 100 episodes. First, I'd say 100 episodes. What are you talking about? I don't even know if I could do a few. And that's really where I was. I mean, and you could tell early on in those first like 20 and all those sort of first 20 episodes and all of that, how I, really kind of talked about some of those things about, even reaching 20 episodes was a big accomplishment for me and all of that. But between then and now, and to see all the things that I've gotten to do, and in some sense just kind of taking a chance out there. I mean, it started with basically going to Portland, and on my way to Seattle. I mentioned that in the little video, and it started there. I got to meet up and do some really cool things, and made some videos out of just me kind of having kind of a short little vacation in Seattle, visiting friends, and went to a baseball game and showed everybody a urban garden at the Safeco Field at a Major League Baseball park. I mean, I thought that was really cool. So we kind of did some side shots, and as after looking back at it now, had I had some of the experiences I've had now, I probably would have been a little bit more forward in going in and finding out if I could have gotten to talk to somebody, get an more up close look at what everything was going. But it was just a part of me, getting out and having some fun, go out and enjoying a Major League Baseball game, and then also getting to throw in a little piece about in the video about the urban garden, which was back in the center field fence back there. So you can imagine some home runs would probably land right inside of that urban garden back there. But it was a really neat little setup, and I really kind of liked that whole idea, at least for them, just kind of getting the idea of gardening out there for people and all of that. So maybe it wouldn't be taken too seriously as a garden, even though I did, from what I did understand, is that they did take some of the things that they did grow out of there. If you go back, actually see the video, it wasn't very much of certain things, but you could see that they could have certain small production of a few things. And from what I understood, they did use that in one of the restaurants there at the stadium too. So they did get use out of it, and it did get onto some people's plates. Some of the the harvest or the small things that they were able to grow out of that. So that was kind of a fun little neat little thing. And as I was making that video and having that, it was just kind of, that was when things were just really starting to develop, that and what I had done in Portland. And also went to Pike's Place Market, and Pike's Place Market down in Seattle in the waterfront. is just a big, huge market. It's really, really popular. If you see a lot of pictures or postcards or any videos of that of Seattle and downtown Seattle, you're going to see some sort of picture or video of the Pike's Place Market there. And it's and you know, if anybody's familiar with it, there's also, you know, one of the famous things they do is they toss fish and do all these sort of things, and it's just a really big, really cool market there. And over the years, I had lived in that area and had been there many, many times. But one of the things I never knew about until I started doing this channel and on my visit up there to Seattle was that they had this whole big patio garden up there. And it wasn't just, you know, like, you know, plants and flowers and those sort of things, you know, to make a nice little patio or anything. This was a full scale, productive garden growing food right there on this big patio and everything too. So getting to see that, you know, and the urban garden there at the stadium and everything was really just kind of one of those eye openers to the sort of content I could think about doing for the channel, you know. And it was really, you know, at that point was like, okay, well, we'll do that, we'll throw that in there, we'll see what happens and all of that. And then I ended up meeting up with one of our viewers, Chris, and he comes on here on the live stream every now and then. And Chris, I'd like to say hi. He's down in Mexico now, but I got to meet up with him, which was really kind of fun to get to meet somebody who watched his channel and all of that. He lived in Eugene, so I met up with him on the way back, and then I got, you know, shortly after I'd gotten home after that, you know, it was, you know, maybe a month or so later, a YouTuber, big YouTuber who has a homestead channel, Justin Rhodes, was coming through Oregon on what was their Great American Farm Tour. The family had taken off in a bus to travel across the country to show us all these really cool farms, small family farms, market gardens, backyard gardens, all these sort of things. And they, you know, they were making a trip around, and we're really only making one stop in Oregon, and that was like right in the middle of Oregon in this town called Sweet Home. And so Chris ended up being a fan of, or a watcher of their show, and so I had asked him if he'd want to come along with me, and we ended up going and visiting and checking out this meetup with you know, to me, you know, really inspiring big YouTuber who does a lot of video content that I think is really, really great. And so it was really great to go and meet up with this guy, talk with him, and do all that sort of stuff, and then be there with all these other people too, who are, you know, in a sense, like-minded gardeners, and really, you know, who are inspired by his channel and all that sort of stuff. It was just kind of a really great one, so I made a little short episode out of that. And at that point, I think I was just really, really set in. You know, I was just, that's what sort of thing I want to do on the side of me doing these things I'm doing at home in my garden. You know, I had, at that time, even if you go back, you see some of my garden wasn't all what it is. So, you know, it was before I started taking up some of these alleyway spaces and or extra spaces and doing some of these other things. And, you know, or even back then too, you know, we're growing our peppers up on the carport rooftop and all of that. So, you know, so besides showing all of these sort of really cool things, I was, you know, really like excited about the idea of being able to go out and go do some of these things, meet some of these people, show some of them on my channel, and show like some of these meetups, especially with getting to see this big YouTuber who has a channel of his own that's really inspiring, and all of that was kind of, you know, really kind of like, okay, this is what we really, really need to do, you know, go in this sort of direction, and go out and meet some more YouTube gardeners and more gardeners out there who are growing really cool garden features and projects and all of that. And so that's the sort of direction we've been going, you know, throughout these first 100 episodes. And you know, also really, you know, that season ended with what, you know, basically is you know, fall time and September, and getting out to go see the National Heirloom Exposition. And at that point, you know, also I was a really was a big fan of John Kohler, watching all of his videos and all of that. I loved his gardening. I loved his passion for gardening. I loved his what he'd done in similar type of fashion with the direction we're going with the channel is meeting up and talking with and interviewing people in these really cool garden projects around the sort of things that he's really, really interested in. He's got a really great catalog of awesome, awesome videos that, in some ways, I would like to have that sort of situation for myself and, in the coming years and whatnot too. So it's a real inspiration to me. So it was really kind of a fun thing for me to plan to get out to the National Heirloom Exposition. What was would be 2 years ago now, and that would be 3 expos because we just finished up our third one. But it was 2 years ago, and go see his talk and get to meet him, and just kind of basically get a chance to let him know I'm in the neighborhood when it comes to YouTube gardening and a garden channel and all of that. And then I'm out there and I'm inspired by him and all the different things like that that he was doing and everything. And so after all of that and doing all of that and getting to really uh, get to meet up with a lot of the other people there that was at the Heirloom Exposition that year and everything. Like I said, that and that whole season, that whole beginning and everything was just really, really inspiring and really great. And then really just kind of, pump the creativity for me and just kind of wanted me to, I wanted to really kind of let loose now and get out and go do some really fun things and stuff, which we really did. I'm kind of now just kind of just blabbing on and giving you the whole darn story of the urban gardener and all of that, which, in some ways, is okay, but I do really encourage everybody to go check out our video section, check out some of the playlists, that I've got that show some of these episodes, some of these features, some of these people we've gotten to meet up with, like back to Portland. One of the first meetups was with Mark Boucher Colbert, up on top of that rooftop garden, and then the different videos we've gotten to do with him since then too. Did a cool couple of get-togethers where we did one where we had kind of a discussion about seed catalogs and that, and then we did another one where we sat and discussed and showed different types of seeds themselves and how fascinating seeds are and all that sort of stuff. And then showing his microgreens operation he's got in a garage, which is a really, really cool thing. I think that's a really, really great episode. I really encourage you to go check that one out too, to see how he's got that set up and everything. That, and just being the caretaker of that rooftop garden up there in Portland, just really, really amazing. Really, really amazing. Oh, let's see here. Oh, I see Nancy's here. Sorry, I'm kind of blabbing on and everything about all of this and that. I'm trying to keep up here, but Nancy says that she loved that video um, and also that baseball video too. Yes, like I say, that was really kind of a fun thing, is to have that baseball video or urban garden and to see that patio that they had at Pike's Place. Just a really fun thing to be creative and make a video out of and all of that. So like I said, I encourage people to go back even check some of those ones out. They're really kind of fun. And so you can go back and see some of the early things that we were doing in the garden here at home and all of that too, because there's been some changes or things that we've done and worked on. I can go back to an episode where we set up our blueberries, when we planted out our blueberries, and I took over that part of the which I'm pointing right here, but that's basically right behind us there. But that part of the alleyway there, which has all of our blueberry plants that we planted out and everything. That's a great episode for planting out blueberries and getting them all started and everything. But with some of the things that come unexpectedly, and I think Nancy remembers, because I'm sure she remembers this video very, very well, the blueberry episode. I encourage you all to go check it out too, because it had some really kind of crazy drama involved as well too. So okay, but yeah, real quick though, yeah, check out that video of the blueberries. we got them all planted in. We got all these really cool blueberry plants put in and everything. Had it all set up. Everything's going, and I got all the video together. And and I went right into the editing and putting the video together. And as I'm doing that, right in the middle of editing and getting this video put together and almost having it finished, um, I go and I think I was going to get a drink or something like that from the kitchen, and noticed out of the kitchen window there was a fire, and it was in the neighbor's house, and their back porch caught on fire, and I had to call 911, get the fire department out there. But it was like right there where our blueberries were just planted. It was like just as we just got them planted in, like my neighbor's house was going to catch fire and basically wipe out the plants that we just put in and everything too. But luckily, like, more importantly, we did get to the calling 911 in time, and it was in part of the house where the people where everybody was more in the other part of the home, so nobody was really at risk at that point in time because we got to it soon enough, and basically got the fire put out and everything. And yeah, it was just like I said, you never know what's going on sometimes when you're doing some of this stuff, and you get some crazy fire drama from the neighbor almost burning down your blueberries. But yeah, you can go check that out too. Like I said, go check out some of those old videos. Let's see here. Caroline says, I enjoyed watching your pepper garden. Yes, the pepper garden, which has kind of changed over time. Like I mentioned, we kind of started out, as we started out doing the channel, as I had done previously for a couple of years. We had our pepper garden and all of our 5-gallon water wicking bucket systems up on top of our rooftop of our carport, which is a flat rooftop. So we had all of our peppers up there, and I had done that for a few seasons and a few years, but the type of ownership for the place that I live in, being the type that doesn't come around very often, hadn't got to see any of that until the last season, and last season basically told me I had to cut it out and bring those things down and everything. So the pepper garden now is being grown at ground level and everything, but it's really unfortunate because it's such great place, an open full sun spot to be able to take advantage of growing things if you have those sort of spaces. And of course, if they're built right and solid and capable of handling that sort of weight and everything like that, which I am completely assured of that this carport is, especially for the small pepper garden that we had. I mean, I could have filled that whole roof full of peppers and it would have held up just fine. But ultimately, it's their decision. They get to tell you what to do. So we had to kind of take the peppers down, and then of course we also have peppers growing all over in different other parts of the gardens as well. A few of them in ground too. And growing them from the 5-gallon 5-gallon water wiki bucket systems that we have there. Caroline's asking if we see similar results growing in the ground, or ultimately in the ground. Always better results, I find, especially if you've got the right soil set up, you're feeding them right and everything like that, you're getting them in at the right time of year, which is something that I really needed to focus on myself this year and all of that. But our plants did continue to start growing strong and get going and all of that. One example of the sort of thing about being in ground is there's a spot where I grow usually my poblano peppers. And because this year I didn't plant them and get them in the ground at the time that I would have in previous seasons, they didn't grow to be these big, nice, bushy plants with all sorts of peppers. That I had so many, I had bags of them I had to go take to coworkers and hand them out to people and whatnot. I had so much production off of these poblano peppers. Growing them in the buckets, I got good plants and I got a decent production, but I'd have to say almost half, So, and that's the one thing about being limited on space and having to use containers and whatnot, is that your plants are not going to get as big as they possibly could if they have the right conditions in the ground. So if you have ground and you take care of your soil, and you're feeding and putting them in right and all that sort of stuff, they got full sun, and you know or even, I want to say full sun. I've actually found that in my back patio, which has a limited amount of sun, and I can't say, try to think about it, at least maybe 4, 5, 6 hours of sun. And it's getting right there in that time. It's getting a good break from the sun at the beginning of the day, getting a break at the end of the day, getting that nice middle of the day sun, and I get really, really great production and results for my peppers right in my back patio, where it has that that only limited amount of sun that it's getting directly on it. So I would say, when it comes down to it, full sun, something that I'm sure that they like, but you can get away with 7, 5, 6, 7 hours of sunlight, and get decent production if you're growing out of a container. The larger the container, the better too. I mean, if I'm growing out of 5 gallons, but if you were able to have a container that was 10, 15, even up to those big 20, 30 gallon things, big, huge things, you get growing in one of those, then, that's probably just as good as growing in the ground. And then you're talking about space, how much space you got, and how many, how much room do you got for some of these bigger containers and all of that. So I go with variety. You know what I mean? I got smaller space. I got 5 gallon buckets. I can put more of them in, and I can have more variety. I might be getting about half as less production as I would get if I was in the ground, but limited in space for a ground where I don't necessarily have that much at all. Or some people who don't have any at all, then you're going to be using space. You got to decide on how you're going to use that space. So you have the big old buckets to get big, huge plants and get some really, really good production off of them. Doubling your production, I would say, if you're trying to have this best you can to having an in-ground plot. Then yeah, or like I said, you can go with the smaller ones, even up to 10 gallons and whatnot. They're not too big, they're a pretty good, decent size, but even up to that, you can get a good amount of variety growing in your garden. And so you can grow more of different types of things and everything like that, which is what I opt to, because I like the variety in the garden. If I'm getting just, so many peppers of a certain type of variety, which, some of them, if you're growing some hot types of varieties, you don't need very many anyways. Like I said, I give some of that stuff away to friends, coworkers, and whatnot. And then some of those really hot varieties that I have, I'll set aside and I'll let them dry and dry out. And when they get nice and dry and everything, I grind them down into some powders and whatnot that we can mix up with some of the lower heat peppers and whatnot, and kind of have kind of take the heat down just a little bit, but have a nice spicy powders you can use for different things that, that are already spicy, but when you want to kick them up just a notch or whatnot. Let's see. Oh yeah, Nancy says yes, she does remember the excitement of the blueberry video. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, not just like fun, and I say that now and I kind of laugh about it and everything too. But if you do see the video and all of that, as I kind of mentioned too, the first thing to do is to worry about people, before property or plants or anything like that. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, there was a fire, there was a potential danger, there, and and all of that, being taken care of first, getting everything taken care of, and the fire department out to get it all put out and all of that, knowing everybody's safe and everything like that, and how it, all kind of ended up, being really, actually for them, actually kind of really limited damage too. They were really lucky about all of that. So when it came down to it, just a really good learning lesson for them about how they're handling certain types of fire issues when it comes to their back patio area and all of that, which got it all started out and everything too. So, but like I said, it was pretty exciting, to have that sort of thing happen, you never expect to really look out your kitchen window and see flames coming up like crazy. It wasn't the normal little backyard fire pit or anything like that. This was pretty crazy. And the worst thing was is they didn't know it was going on. They were all up in the front part of the house. They have a big long type of house. They didn't know it was going on. They were way up there. So thankfully for them, I did see it when I saw it and was able to get to them and let them know. We were able to get to it taken care of soon, because if I hadn't seen that, if I had just stayed in my room and continued editing my video, that could have gotten a lot worse. Their whole house could have gone up. It could have been, far worse things. So, in all sense, kind of lucky the way everything worked out and everything too. And think about it. Wouldn't have probably, who knows how or what not I would have thought about or seen or anything if I wasn't making YouTube videos. You know what I mean? If I wasn't, out there sharing my garden with all of you guys and making these sort of things, I might not have been in the situation to have found out about that, and it could have ended up been worse. So it's just kind of weird how some things work out sometimes. Let's see here. All right, so we did talk about results from the ground. Yep. So yeah, again, just to repeat real quick about in-ground, if you have the in-ground space, that's the best place to grow, man. Get some really good, and those poblanos, when they grow in the ground, they're just huge, nice peppers and all of that, everything too. But like I said, just one thing I'll talk about too, though, I might not get as much production off of, say, like these. I have a big bell pepper called the super heavyweight, and I may not get like the big time production I would get if they were in the ground, but I still get these big monster pods of these big bell peppers and everything too. So maybe less production, but I'm still seeing great pods, great peppers, great tomatoes, all of that sort of thing. Let's see here. Or except for, actually, I'll tell you, not so much with cucumbers and whatnot. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. Last 2 seasons, it's becoming my new potato challenge, I guess, is cucumbers. I'm just not having the best of luck. I really want to grow a good significant amount of cucumbers and be able to do my own pickles and try some things like that, and whatnot. And I just, last 2 seasons, just as I'm really trying some new things, trellising, getting them in places where they should be getting good light. So I don't know if maybe these containers, I'm still not getting them enough root space. So there's some things I'm gonna have to work on and think about that, as far as that goes and everything too. I do have to say though, we did get a few good lemon cucumbers, but not as many as I really wanted. And it's got to be the limitations of that pot space as well too. All right, and Caroline asks, what are your plans for plants in the winter months? Plans as far as like plants that I'm gonna need help during the winter time, protected and all of that. I have actually a blood orange tree that I'm gonna have to bring inside. There's a couple of other things that I think I'll be bringing inside. I do want to overwinter one of the pepper plants, and I just haven't decided which one yet. There's a couple of them I'm really thinking about, and then I'm not too sure, about some others, but I really would like to overwinter a pepper plant and see how well we can get that going. I do have this little indoor grow room right there that is actually just kind of sitting there right now. I did try out a couple of different things and wasn't exactly too successful with it. So I think ultimately it's got to be the lighting in there. I have some LEDs, but I don't know if they're the best or whatnot. But I'm gonna try to look into a better LED setup so I can get some really good light in that grow room, and then hopefully be able to overwinter some peppers. And let's see, grow for plants. Also another possibility. There's actually kind of fall to winter gardening and that sort of thing. I'm gonna try to get out and actually start getting some hoop setups done for a couple of the different plots that we've got out there. I want to get some plants started, and that's been one of the things I was hoping for. And again, issues with plants and plant starts. I don't know why I have the hardest time with cold season seeds and seedlings and getting seed starts, and that's same case here for the fall. So I've been trying to find and locate a place where I can get some cool season starts and get them in the ground in some of our plots, and then get some covering for them and whatnot. But I've been seeding out and trying to get like spinach started, different greens and different things like that in some of our above ground raised beds and everything. And similar situation, I get a covering kind of thing and try to see how far into this winter months can I get some keep these things growing, or at least be able to pull good leafy greens and things out of there. Not too sure about like carrots and all of that. I've got some seeding out and getting started, so we'll see how those sort of things work as far as the containers, and then possibly the space in ground as well where the corn is too. So I'm gonna try getting some carrots and stuff like that in there, and of course getting out some radishes. I don't know. I shared on Ray Browning's page last week or so about this radish I've got growing in the garden. I have to tell you about this thing. I think I've actually mentioned it in the live stream already a couple of weeks ago or whatnot. But I grow out, a nice patch of radishes, and then I harvest up, a lot of the fresh radishes, and then it comes down to it. I leave maybe about a handful or so in the ground, and I let those go to seed. And when they go to seed, then I can, radishes are really good to collect the seed pods. They're really good. They're tasty and all of that. And so you collect some seed pods off of those, and then you let some of those seed pods develop and grow your seed that you're going to use for your next grow. And so I did that, but I only ended up with one radish that I was going to seed out. I just figured I'd probably be good. I had plenty of radish seed left over from the previous one that I did, and so I just figured I'll let one go so I can get some of those seed pods, and then I'll have just a few of the seeds that I can use or add to the other seed that I have. And this thing is refusing to go to seed. I've never seen a radish so stubborn and unwilling to actually seed out. It's amazing. I almost, but I decided not to. I'm gonna let it grow. I'm gonna let it seed. Eventually it will, hopefully. I don't know. We're starting to head towards those cooler months. Maybe it's gonna start enjoying the cooler weather more, and maybe start producing more leaves again. Maybe we'll have a plant that doesn't seed out till some other time. I'm not even sure. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with this radish. But right now, it's huge. I mean, it's a monster radish. It's like rippled like a bodybuilder, and just everything that comes at it just seems to be like and grows bigger and stronger. It only gets stronger with the resistance and all of that. And I joked about on Ray's page about that. It's like it's a radish out of a comic book, a superhero comic book. I just doesn't know if it's the hero or the villain. Because it's a big old monster radish for sure. That's something else, man. And Nancy also, well, I recommend all of your videos for learning, for variety and uniqueness and fun. 100, that's awesome. Yes, absolutely. 100 episodes. Again, like I was saying, who would believe that, 100 episodes of making a garden channel and sharing things, and then to see where it's come to today. I mean, really having fun, and I'm kind of growing as a content creator, and hopefully getting better at all this sort of stuff. I don't know. I mean, you watch some of the blooper reels, you kind of wonder a little bit. I still have kind of fun, just making videos for all of you and everything too. It really is special, to have you all along with me, coming along here, watching these live streams here every single Wednesday. Like I say, come with us here on 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and each Wednesday, come hang out and talk about gardens. Get in the chat box right there and let me know about your gardens. Let me know you're here, all that sort of stuff, and then join in on a conversation. And here, at least help me with some things to talk about. Of course, we always wonder about what I'm going to say. I actually, I used to actually, the first few live streams, actually write down some ideas of what I wanted to talk about and all that sort of stuff. But the last several, I've actually just kind of hurrying to get everything set up and sit down and get ready to go and all of that. Never really having anything exactly thought up to talk about, just kind of letting things kind of go out, talk about gardening, and just enjoy it, enjoy getting a chance to hang out for about an hour or so here on Wednesday afternoons with all of you wonderful gardeners out there, and enjoying this time together, talking about gardens, talking about your gardens, and all these sort of things that we're dealing with right now from, like I was saying, heading into these cooler seasons and all of that sort of stuff. We'll see where we go in the next 100 episodes too of the Urban Gardener, and where we go also, continuing here with this live chat that we've got here too. So, just a really, really great feature of the channel as well. I get to go out and create these cool little videos and show you all these different things, part of my garden adventure and everything. And I come sit down here each Wednesday and talk to you about all the different things going on behind the scenes even too. There's just certain things that you can only film and get captured on video and all of that, but there's a lot of other things that go on when it comes to like taking some of these trips and adventures that we've taken here on the Urban Gardener. This last year, since all of that first season and everything like that, this last year we've been to Los Angeles twice, out to Las Vegas to see John Kohler and his garden out there and everything, and we've been down to the National Heirloom Expo a couple of more times, leading up to just this last week and everything, and getting to have these really cool adventures with all of the great gardeners out there. Just like I talked about last week in our live chat as well too, about some of the fun things that we got to do around the National Heirloom Expo and everything. Getting to hang out with John Kohler again, and just get together and talk with him and discuss different things about being a YouTube content creator, garden creators, and gardening in general and all of that sort of stuff. It was just really fun to be able to hang out with him and everything too, and help him take care of some of the issues he was dealing with in his garden too, though, too. So us gardeners who have these big, huge garden projects, it's quite a bit of work, and all of that. We have fun and we enjoy it and all of that stuff. But it really is helpful to have someone else along to kind of help you out with some of the different things, and it was really great to help him out. There's some things he would have never, he's like, I've never been able to do this myself, but we were able to help pin back some of his big, larger plants and everything like that, that really, could, takes two hands to kind of get some of those things done. So it was really kind of good to be able to get over there and help one of these big YouTube inspirations of mine that I used to watch on my computer for years and work on my garden and all of that sort of stuff. But to be able to hang out with him and help him out in his garden and all of that, it's just one of those great, great things about getting out there and doing these sort of things, and creating these videos and creating these experiences and sharing these experiences with all of you out there, and all of that is all, like I said, getting to know all of the people that I get to meet in person, and all of you out there who get to watch and I get to meet through these videos and these live streams and all of that too. So again too, like I said, if you're watching on the replay and everything, down in the comment section, let me know you were here. Let me know where you're gardening from. Let me know all the things going on in your garden, and tell me about how you got started gardening and all of that. It's one of the things I like to hear from people, and would hope to hear from all of you out there about what your garden story is and all of that sort of stuff too. So, don't forget about all of that. It's great to just kind of have a fun time sharing and hanging out with everybody and doing all of that. And it says great questions and answers and all of that. Awesome. Yes. That's what this is all about, getting together with all of you and talking and about our gardens and all the things going on and all of that. And with that being said, I'm just going to kind of get towards the end of our live stream here. We'll be approaching an hour pretty soon here, but just kind of want to again mention the importance of all of you out there too for the channel and everything. And I kind of talk about that a little bit in the short little video that I put out earlier today. So again, I encourage you all to go out there, or go out onto the main page of the channel and everything after this live stream, and go check out the short little video. It's just a little 7-minute video or so, and check it out. It's kind of just a little turning 100 type of message about the Urban Gardener and all of that. And give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment there too and all of that. And one of the things I talk about, and one of the things that's really, really important for a channel like ours as we're moving on into this next 100 episodes and all of that, and see where we go from there. I mean, what kind of stories are we going to be able to tell 100 episodes from now? That's going to be a really interesting thing to look back on and all of that too. But so, you know, in order to, you know, really continue on in those next 100 episodes, I'd like to see this channel grow and get more people onto this garden adventure with us, joining up with us here on Wednesdays and all of that, being involved in these chats and everything like that. And one of the things that's really, really helpful and important is for all of you out there who really enjoy the Urban Gardener and enjoy this channel and all of that, is to share it with your friends, share it in your garden groups, share your favorite episodes. You know, you don't have to share it in general. Go find an episode you really like and go and talk about it, share it with other people, and help get the word out there about the Urban Gardener, and let more people out there in the garden community know that we're here, know that we got all of this going on and all of that. You know, it's really, we're only here to have fun. We're only here to really enjoy the experience of gardening, enjoy the experience of each other's company, and and really just, continue a positive type of thing in such an unpositive world that's going on right now. You know, every time you turn around and you're looking at things going on, as you're bombarded with news or different feeds here on social media and all of that, I don't want to give up being on social media. I don't want to give up being on Facebook and on all these different places, but at the same time, being a part of that is dealing with all of this bombardment of all of these sort of things, these crazy things that are going on. We all have our positions and all of that sort of stuff as it comes to all of that sort of stuff, and it just makes it even more overwhelming as well, to really kind of take on all of that sort of stuff. So that's one of the great things about gardening, is that you can just really escape from that stuff, and you should be able to. And I know that there's still some garden drama that ends up going out there, and people who say and do certain things like that, but take my advice, look right past it, don't ever let it bother you, act like it doesn't even exist. Just put a smile on your face and enjoy gardening with everybody else who really, really enjoys gardening. Like right here on the Urban Gardener, where everybody's welcome to have a great time and to enjoy all of our passions for this. Just a wonderful, whether it's a pastime and you just do gardening just because it's something you enjoy and helps relieve all the stresses from the regular world and all of that, or you're gardening for production purposes. You want food. You want to have as much food as you possibly can and all of that, or you're, all sorts of reasons for gardening and all of that too. Maybe, you just want to produce for other people and do that sort of stuff, as market gardeners and all of that sort of stuff too. That's another, great thing. But it's all, just a really great experience, to learn about and, deal with all the sort of challenges that are involved in the garden. And it's all just a wonderful, great fun experience. And, you never know where you're going to end up, when you're out here in the garden, social media and all of that, and the people that you're going to get to meet and the friends you're going to get to make and all of that sort of stuff too, And so, it's great to just have a really encouraging place for everybody to be able to kind of land and enjoy their time with gardening and all of that. So again, like I say, I encourage all of you out there who are into all of that sort of thing, and you're into that sort of message and that sort of gardening and passion for gardening and all of that, please again help share this content. Share some of our videos out there, share and help get us the word out there about this channel and the great and fun things that that we've got planned to do and coming up. As like I said, I've got more and more things in mind. Certain things I have in mind for when a channel actually gets to a certain size and all of that sort of stuff. There's certain things I've got in mind I'd love to share with you about at that point in time. But I'm not trying to overthink anything or overdo anything. I'm just trying to have fun on this garden adventure with all of you, and we'll see where it goes. It's already, like I said, just been a really, really great adventure. Caroline says, I will be growing in tall raised beds this spring for the first time. Tall raised beds, and I'm sorry, I'm still trying to catch up here, but Tall raised beds, as in are they gonna be on the ground still, or is this gonna be like a kind of above ground raised bed type of thing? Probably most likely on the ground and all of that, but tall ones, making sure you got some really good space for roots, as we were talking about, so that you can get some really good sized plants and everything too. Yep, on the ground, exactly. So yeah, especially too, as as you're developing those raised beds and everything, you're first going to want to put in a nice little thing to kind of, I usually use a lot good layers of cardboard and whatnot to kind of get things set up and put the raised bed on and everything. And then you put all of that soil in there, and you're developing each season. And as all that stuff breaks down and everything, you're going to develop some really, really great soil for all those roots to really, really expand down in coming seasons, from even your next season and all of that too. So I mean, raised beds are really, really great and are really, really helpful in growing some of those big, large plants and getting some good production. And Nancy says she's still on her hands and knees in the ground gardening and all of that too. Yep, yep. But you're fortunate enough to be able to have that kind of space and everything too, and you do some really, really great gardening and all of that too with the space that you have and everything too. So, that's really great. All right. So, as that being said and all of that, and talking about all of the great things here going on in the first 100 episodes of the Urban Gardener, t.U.G. But again, I'll always be a broken record when it comes to thanking everybody for helping out, being a part of the whole garden adventure, and doing all that sort of things to help us as a channel and all of that. All of you follow along with these live streams here on Wednesday, and watch all of our really great video content, as we've been talking about all these great features and everything that we have on our main page under the videos section. Also, some of those videos and features and everything are featured in playlists down at the bottom of our main page of the Urban Gardener. And check out all those really great videos if you get a chance and everything. And leave comments, and hit the thumbs up button, and share them, and let everybody know about all of the really great things that we've got going on and everything right there. Caroline says thank you. She enjoys the videos. Thank you very much for watching. And Nancy, real quick, she says she got out her fall plants. She's dealing with groundhogs. Oh, gotta find some groundhog solutions for your garden for sure. That's something we'll have to get into and talk about, maybe, is some of those issues and all of that and everything too. Something maybe we could do coming up here in upcoming live streams on Wednesdays. Again, like I said, thank you all so much for joining me here. And get down in the comment section. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you got growing on. Hit the like button. Go share all of this sort of stuff. Share, share, share. And I'll see you all again next week on another edition of Wednesdays Live, t.U.G, the Urban Gardener.